Lucy, Acadia, how are you today? Don't try to answer. I can't hear you. It's a video. But anyway, I hope you're fine. I know both of you have been a little bit sickly lately, so hopefully you're feeling good. I have another book from the Kingdom of Wrenly today, and this is actually the first book in the series. You may know that some of these chapter books, there are many different stories, and they're in a series, and there's one book per story. I read the Pegasus Adventure to you the last couple of days, and that's actually book number 10 in the series. But I have book number 1, so this is the very first book. And Lucas and Clara are a little bit younger. I'm not sure about Ruskin. I don't know if he's in the story yet. But let me go ahead and I will show you the book. Got to turn the camera around. Hopefully this is working okay. I'm turning the camera around. There we go. And here's the book. The Kingdom of Wrenly, and it is called The Lost. See that says 1 there? Can you see the 1? 1. First book in the series, The Lost Stone. The Lost Stone. And you see Lucas? See, does he look a little bit younger maybe? And that's Clara, his friend. Lucas is a prince, and Clara is the daughter of the baker. So that's really neat. A prince who is royalty has a friend who is the daughter of a working person. Like your mom and your dad and me, we're all working people. We're not royalty. Most people are not princes and princesses. It's kind of nice to think about that. But most people are working people. We work for a living. Okay, there's the Kingdom of Wrenly, a little bird in front of it. You've seen this before: Mermaid's Cove, the Palace, Birth, Bogpert, Premlocks. Okay, that's the map. And let's get on to the story. I'm going to read the chapter headings to you, just like I always do, so you can kind of think about what the story might be about. So this is contents. Chapter 1, A Secret Mission. Chapter 2, Lucas the Brave. Chapter 3, Kindness is King. Chapter 4, Hear ye, hear ye. Chapter 5, A Royal Adventure. That's probably how far we're going to get through chapter 5 today. Chapter 6, Rainbow Frost. Chapter 7, Ham Bone. Chapter 8, Olaf. That's a name, Olaf. You probably remember that from Frozen. There's a character in Frozen named Olaf. Let's see, chapter 9, Mermaid Magic. Oh, good, there's a mermaid in this book. Chapter 10, Scallop. Scallop, that's a kind of animal from the sea. Let's see if that's it. That's it. Okay, chapter 1, A Secret Mission. Prince Lucas raced up the spiral stone staircase in the castle to his bedroom. He kneeled on the floor and then pulled a pile of clothes out from under his bed. There was a pair of worn trousers, a shabby shirt, a felt hat, scruffy leather boots, and a wool cloak. So these are kind of unusual clothes for a prince to be wearing. There are worn trousers, so old trousers that are kind of old looking. A shabby shirt, that means it doesn't look new at all. A felt hat, scruffy leather boots, and a wool cloak. Lucas had gotten the clothes for a handful of coins from a boy in the village. So he bought them from a boy. Now the prince stood before a mirror and tried on the hat. This outfit will make me look like a normal 8-year-old boy, he thought. Nobody will ever know that I'm the Prince of Wrenly. See, he just wants to be a normal person, at least for a day. And that was the problem. Lucas had grown bored of being a prince. Most kids would think he must be crazy. Lucas had everything a boy or girl could wish for: a cozy goosefeather bed, toys fit for a prince, the best cooks in the land to make his meals, and a view of the sea from the top of his turret. Lucas even had his very own horse named Ivan. I didn't know that. So he has a horse named Ivan. But There was one thing that the prince did not have. What do you think that is? Got any guesses? I bet it's friends. Let's see if it's friends. Yes, I'm right. He did not have friends. Lucas wanted a friend more than anything in the world. He had a friend once, a pretty green-eyed girl named Clara Gills. Clara's mother, Anna, made dresses for Lucas's mother, Queen Tasha. Anna always brought Clara when she came to the castle. Clara and Lucas had played hide and seek and twirled on the swings in the royal playroom, but not anymore. Lucas's father, King Caleb, had forbidden it. He said a proper prince does not play with village children. Boo! That's my own comment. Boo! It doesn't say that in the book. We don't like that. We want princes to be able to play with village children or anyone else they want to play with. Lucas had cried until his nose got stuffy. See, remember, this is book 1, so this is telling the story back before Lucas and Clara used to go on their adventures together. So we know that the situation would become rectified or made better somehow. But in the beginning, Lucas would play with Clara only in the castle when her mother was there, and then Prince Caleb said, "No, you shouldn't play with village children because they're not in your class. They're not royalty. You should play with royal children." Okay, so let's see what happens. I bet Lucas is going to fix this situation. So, day after day, Lucas watched the village children walk to and from school. Sometimes they stopped at the bakery for breadsticks. See, he's watching the village children. They're having fun. In the afternoons, Lucas watched the children climb trees and play tag in the meadows. How he longed to laugh and play along with them. And now, maybe I can have friends, he thought, because I, Prince Lucas, have a magnificent plan. But Lucas had to hurry. It was time to go. He stuffed the worn clothes into a sack and then slung the sack over his shoulder. Next, he tied a thick rope to the windowsill, crawled onto the ledge, slid down the rope, and ran to the stables where he saddled Ivan. That's Ivan, his horse. Lucas then checked to see if anyone was around. All clear, he thought. He hopped onto Ivan, gave him a soft kick, and galloped away on his secret mission. There he is with Ivan. Chapter 2, Lucas the Brave. See, that says Lucas the Brave. B-R-A-V-E. Brave, brave. Lucas dashed over a bridge and down into the village. Chickens squawked and scattered to get out of his way. The villagers bowed and tipped their hats as he rode by. Clang, clang! The school bell rang down the lane. Lucas slapped the reins and hurried toward the sound of the bell. As he drew near, he leaped over a stone wall and came to a rest. He hopped from his saddle and quickly changed his clothes. Lucas tucked his curly red hair, so he has red hair, inside the felt hat. Then he grabbed a handful of dirt and smudged his cheek because he wants to look like a village kid who's been playing out in the meadow and not a prince who takes baths 3 times a day. He tied Ivan to a low tree branch and slung the sack with his princely clothes from the saddle. Well, Ivan, he said, here goes. Lucas climbed over the stone wall and stood in front of the schoolhouse. A swirl of smoke curled from the chimney. Schoolhouse, that says schoolhouse. Schoolhouse. Lucas took a deep breath. Today I am Lucas the Brave, he said to himself. Because it's got to be pretty brave to dress up like someone you're not and then go into a schoolhouse where you don't belong. He's pretty brave to do that. So he's just going to walk right in, knock on the door, and pretend that he's not the prince. Then he marched up to the schoolhouse and slowly pulled open the doors. Creak, the door says. Creak. It's creaking when it opens. The children sat in front of the teacher on benches. Everyone turned to stare at Lucas. A girl with a thin braid crowning her brown hair gasped and cupped her hand over her mouth. There she is, cupping her hand. She's going, that's what it means, gasped and covered her hand over her mouth. She went, Good morning, boy, the teacher said. Are you here to join us? Yes, said Lucas. I'm new in town. Please have a seat, she said. I'm Mistress Carson. What's your name? What's he going to say? My name is Flynn, fibbed the prince as he sat down on a bench at the back of the classroom. My name is Flynn. Welcome, Mistress Carson said. Class, please say good morning to Flynn. Good morning, Flynn, said the class. Now, all eyes on me, said the teacher. We're going to do some work on subtraction. Subtraction. Do you know what that is? I bet Acadia might know. That's when you compare two numbers and determine the difference. Or said another way, 5 take away 3 or 5 minus 3 is subtraction. And the answer, that's right, Acadia, it's 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. I bet Lucy knows that too. 7 minus 5 is 2. 5 minus 1 is 4. That's subtraction. Okay, now we're going to work on subtraction. The children turned toward the teacher, all except the girl with the braided crown. It was Clara. I wonder if that's a problem. I'm sure he's happy to see Clara, but the problem is Clara knows that, well, maybe she doesn't know because Prince Lucas is in disguise, but I bet she's going to figure out that his name isn't really Flynn. We'll see. It was Clara, Lucas's old friend from the palace. She looked at the prince and raised an eyebrow. The prince winked at her. She smiled and quickly looked away. Oh, so she knows, but maybe she's going to keep a secret. Nobody seemed to notice. Mistress Carson wrote some sums on a large slate at the front of the classroom. Now, who would like to solve a problem at the board, she asked. The prince's hand shot up. He loved to add and subtract. His father had taught him math at home. Mistress Carson called Lucas up to the board. The children watched as the new boy walked to the front of the class. See, he's eager. He's raising his hand. Do you do that at your school? Do you raise your hand when you want to talk? That's what we did when I was growing up. I'm going to have lots of friends, Lucas thought. Then he began to work on one of the problems. The room was quiet, except for the chalk tapping on the board, until boom, boom, boom. Uh-oh, what's that? Someone began to pound on the doors of the school. The children jumped up in their seats. Lucas froze. His heart began to thump. My gosh, look what that is at the door. It looks like 2 knights. I wonder why they could be there. We're going to find out. The teacher hurried to the back of the room and opened the doors. 2 burly men burst in. Lucas dropped his chalk on the floor. Oh no, he thought, the palace guards. He wanted to run, but the doors were blocked. There he is, shouted one of the guards as he pointed at Lucas. That's the Prince of Wrenly. Mistress Carson and the children gasped. The other guard ran toward the prince, grabbed him by the arm, and led him toward the doors. Clara waved at Lucas as he walked by. Lucas hung his head. Now I'll never have friends, he thought. There's Lucas being led away. Clara waving at him. Now I'll never have friends. Oh, here's Grandmommy.
Hello.
What are we doing this morning, Grandmommy? What are we doing after I finish reading this book? Where are we going to go?
We go to grocery store to buy food.
And that's right, including ice cream.
Yeah.
We're going to go so Granddaddy can get some more ice cream and bananas and milk and all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah.
But first, I'm going to finish this book, and then we're going to go shopping.
We go in like half an hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Half an hour, 45 minutes. That's great. Plenty of time to get through this first half of this book. Okay, now let's see what happens. Let's see if I need to adjust this a little bit. Come down maybe. Come up maybe. Come up maybe. Yeah, go up a little bit. Okay. Chapter 3, Kindness is King. King Caleb threw Lucas's peasant clothes into the fireplace. Oh, he threw his peasant clothes into the fireplace. They burst into flames. "What were you thinking?" cried King Caleb. "You are a royal prince. You must behave like one. Peasants," that's the village people, "peasants are not equal to royals." "But father, I have no friends," said Lucas. "I'm bored out of my royal breeches." There's King Caleb. He's not so mean. He sounds kind of mean at first, but he's really not so mean. He's just acting in accordance with tradition. Traditionally, in olden times, royalty did not mingle with village people. They kept separate. They were different classes of people. And people did not mingle with those who were not of their class. But modern times is different. We know it's better to have friends from all different walks of life, working people and rich people, whatever kind of people. It's good to have friends. Okay. "You should spend more time with my knights," suggested the king. "You can train with them." "It's not the same," said Lucas. "I'm lonely. I need a friend of my own age. I want somebody to talk to, and most of all, someone to go on adventures with me." The king sighed. He hated to see his son so unhappy, but he couldn't allow him to be friends with the peasants. Even they would think it was strange. He looked to Lucas's mother, Queen Tasha, for help. "Your father is right," said the queen as she brushed her long red hair. "But you are also right, Lucas. You do need a friend." She looked at her husband. "Anna Gills is like family to me," said Queen Tasha, "and her daughter Clara was like a sister to Lucas. Perhaps we should allow them to play together once in a while." King Caleb rubbed his blond beard thoughtfully. He was a mighty king, but he had a kind heart. "All right then, Lucas," he said. "I suppose you may be friends with Clara, but you're not to make friends with every peasant child in the kingdom of Wrenly." Prince Lucas ran to his father's arms. "Thank you, father. I promise." There they go. King Caleb, Queen Tasha, and Prince Lucas. Chapter 4. Okay, I have 2 more chapters I'm going to read right now. Chapter 4 and then chapter 5. And then I'm going to save the last half of the book for another video. Okay, here he is. Doesn't Prince Lucas look happy? Because now he's going to be able to be friends with Clara. Okay, this says, "Hear ye, hear ye." That's kind of old English. Those are not modern words, but they're words that people say when they're making a formal announcement in olden times. So if you were in a courtroom or in the village and a official of the court were to make an announcement, he would say, "Hear ye, hear ye." What that means is, everybody listen to this. Hear ye, hear ye. Lucas couldn't wait for Clara and her mother to arrive at the palace. For example, if it's dinner time, and your mother wanted to say it's dinner time, she might say, "Hear ye, dinner is ready." Or your daddy, if he cooks dinner, which I know he does a lot. Hear ye, Acadian Lucy, come to dinner." Okay. Lucas couldn't wait for Clara and her mother to arrive at the palace. So he didn't. He snuck out and raced all the way to the bakery. That's where Clara's father works. He owns a bakery. Clara always went to the bakery after school. Her father, Owen Gills, worked there. Lucas peeked down the lane. The school children are coming, he thought. He didn't want them to see him, so he pressed himself against the wall alongside the bakery. Then he listened to what they were saying. Okay, so there are the school children. There's Lucas at the top. He's listening, and the school children are talking. And this is what they're saying. Why on earth would the prince want to go to school with us? Asked a boy named Albin. Maybe he's lonely, Clara said. I feel sorry for him, cooped up in the castle all day. The children laughed at Clara. How can you feel sorry for the prince? Asked a girl named Martha. The prince has everything, said another girl named Ashley. Not everything, said Clara. He doesn't have a single friend. He's not even allowed to play with me when I visit the palace with my mother. Well, I'll trade places with him any day, said Albin. I'd love to live like a prince. I know it sounds like the perfect life, said Clara, but a palace, fine clothes, and delicious food aren't everything. Bells jingled as the children stepped into the bakery. Moments later, each child carried a roll of warm butternut bread to the bench outside. Lucas's mouth watered. How he wished he could join them. As he waited, he heard horses whinny. Whinny, whee! We knew that from the Pegasus story, right? That's what a horse does. Whee! He's whinnying, or she's whinnying. Then someone began to shout. See, he's making an announcement. Got a bell. He's a town crier. That means the person who shouts out the announcements. In olden times, they didn't have loudspeakers or computers or anything. Someone would have to communicate. Someone would actually come to the middle of town. They'd ring a bell and they'd shout out whatever the news was. So this is a town crier, and this is what he says. Hear ye, he cried. The Queen of Wrenly has lost her prized emerald stone. The king has offered a grand reward to anyone who finds it. The villagers began to hurry about to spread the news. Oh no, thought Lucas, I must get back to the palace. Lucas left his hiding place and ran all the way home, being careful to stay in the shadows. Didn't want anybody to see him. Chapter 5, A Royal Adventure. Okay, this is the last chapter I'm going to read. A Royal Adventure. Queen Tasha sat at her dressing table, dabbing her eyes with a silk handkerchief. Lucas put his hand on his mother's shoulder. He knew the emerald meant a lot to her. It had belonged to her great-grandmother. Don't cry, Mother, he said. I'm going to find your emerald. His mother smiled weakly. Then she picked up the gold chain from which her stone no longer dangled. See, the stone used to be in that setting and it fell out and now they can't find it. And it came from her great-grandmother, so it's not just valuable as in terms of money, but it has a lot of sentimental value because her great-grandmother used to wear it and now it's lost. It could be anywhere, she said sadly. I've been all over the kingdom these last 2 days. Where have you traveled to? Lucas asked. The queen thought for a moment. I went to Primlock's, Birth, and Hobsgrove, she said. Primlock's, Birth, and Hobsgrove. Okay, so let's look back to the map. Here's the map. There's Birth, B-U-R-T-H. That's Birth. Here's the palace. Birth is over here. Here's Hobsgrove. Hobsgrove, somewhere in there. And Primlocks is this island over there. So there, and there. She's been to those 3 places. Okay, she said, I went to Primlocks, Birth, and Hobsgrove. Lucas sighed. You're right, it could be anywhere, he said. But have no fear, I'm going to find it. I'll need help, though. What kind of help? His mother asked. Clara's help, said Lucas. The queen smiled and nodded. All right, she said, you have my permission. Thank you, Mother, said Lucas. I will find your emerald. Later that afternoon, Clara and her mother arrived at the palace. Lucas grabbed Clara by the hand and they raced to the royal playroom. Then he told her his idea. We'd search for the missing jewel together? Clara asked. Exactly, replied Lucas. But will your parents allow it? Clara asked with a frown. She's asking because she knows that that King Caleb said that he can't play with village children. She doesn't know yet that they now say that it's okay for him to play with Clara, but now he's going to tell her. So she says, but will your parents allow it? And Lucas answers, they already have after what happened today. They already have. What do you mean? Clara asked. After I got caught at the schoolhouse, my parents agreed to let us be friends again. You mean you didn't get into trouble? Questioned Clara. No, said Lucas. I think they felt sorry for me. Why? Because I have no friends, Lucas said. Clara sat on the swing and looked at Lucas. Is it hard being a prince? Asked Clara. No, it's dull, D-U-L-L. It's dull being a prince, said Lucas, and lonely. I can't even be friends with ordinary children. See, there they are. Lucas is sitting on the ground, Clara's sitting on the swing, and they're talking. It's like somebody's been doing some painting out there. That royally stinks. That stinks, said Clara. Lucas laughed. Well, at least we can be friends, he said. That's great news, Clara said. So when do we start our search? Right now, said Lucas, and our first adventure will be epic. I love epic adventures, said Clara. Then let's make a plan, said Lucas. Lucas laid out a map of the great kingdom. Okay, we just saw the map. Then they marked all the places Queen Tasha had been over the last 2 days. Clara knew the kingdom of Wrenly well. She had delivered bread to all of the lands with her father. Okay, so she helps her father. So she knows all of the kingdom because she goes to deliver bread there with her father. I'll be your guide, Clara said. I can hardly wait, said Lucas. How about we meet outside the carriage house after breakfast? There's no school tomorrow, so I'll be there, said Clara. Can I ask for a small favor, said Lucas. Sure, Clara said. Will you bring some butternut bread from your bakery? Clara laughed. Only if you bring me some yummy sausage from the royal pantry, she said. Deal, said Lucas. Okay, so he's going to trade some sausage for some butternut bread. There they are. They've got the map. They've made their plan. They're going to meet in the morning and go look for the emerald. And so that is the end of chapter 5. The next chapter is chapter 6, Rainbow Frost, and I'll read it next time. And so now we've learned, remember the name of this is The Lost Stone. And so the emerald is a stone. So that's what's lost. It's the emerald that they're looking for. And there they are. They're on the horse. And the horse's name is Ivan. So there, yes, you probably got that right. They're on Ivan, and he's got the map, and they're off to look at look for the emerald. That's the end of the first half of The Lost Stone, and I look forward to reading the second half to you in a little bit. Bye-bye.